Let's look at outliers and what they can do to the center and the spread, the different measures we have of the center and the spread. Just to make sure we're clear on our vocabulary, an outlier is a number that falls far outside the other values. So, for example, in this list of numbers, I'm just going to skip to this real quick. We have 4, 7, 9, yada, 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 all the way up to 19, 22, and then 100. Now, all of these other numbers are pretty close to each other, maybe 2, 3 apart, but then 100 is way, way different than all the others. And when you have a number that's drastically different, there are technical ways to classify an outlier, but for our purposes in this class, we're just going to say any number that's way outside of the range of the others, we're going to call that an outlier. So getting to our example here, how do the summary statistics change when you make one of these values an outlier? So we turned the 24 that we had before into this 100, and now let's go ahead and calculate our minimum, quarter one, the entire 5-number summary here, and then let's put them into our calculator and see what happens to some of these other values. So if we want to do our 5-number summary, we always know we have to pick our middle value, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and because there's 15 things in here, I'll have 7 on the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 on the right, and then it'll be the 8th number in the middle here. So because I have a list of 15 numbers, I know I'm looking at that 8th value for my median. Of the numbers on the left, I now have 7 of them. So my middle of the left side is going to be my 4th number in, right here. And I'll have 3 on each side. And then same thing over here. I'll have my 4th number in, the 19, is going to be my the middle of this side, my quarter 3. And then of course I've got my minimum, my smallest number, my 4, and then my max, this outlier that we already talked about, the 100. So let's go ahead and fill in what we know. So we have a minimum of 4, quarter 1 of 11, median of 16, quarter 3 of 19, and then a max of 100. Mean and standard deviation, I'm going to leave that for the calculator. These other ones we can do without it. The median is our middle number. We already said that, so I'm just going to write that again, 16. IQR, interquartile range. When we take our third quarter and our first quarter and we subtract them. So 19 minus 11, our IQR will be 8. And then our range is where we take the high one and the low one, the max and the min, and subtract them. 100 minus 4 is 96. The mean and the standard deviation we still have to do with our calculator. So if you pull that out, now for many of the calculators, if you left your numbers in from what you had before, and you just go to your list, you can go and change a single value. You can just edit that one value. So the rest of this list we had in here before was the same, and I'm going to overwrite that 24 with 100. Every calculator is going to be a little bit different on how that works. But in my case, I'm going to the stat, calc, in one bar, stats, one variable statistics, and I'm going to get this list of numbers again. So I'm going to pull this out here and see what we can get. What does this mean here? It says our mean, our x bar, remember x bar is the mean, that's going to be 20, and that the ox, the sigma x, that O with a tail on it, is going to be 21.9. So let's write those in. 20 is the mean, and then 21.9 is our standard deviation. So the real question here is when we change that last number to an outlier, that 24 turned into a 100, what effect did that have on all these summary stats? We previously had a mean of 14.93, so the mean, I would circle that as definitely changing. The mean moved way up because of that outlier. That one number pulled up the average quite a bit. The standard deviation was 5.33. Now it's 21.9. That's a dramatic change. And when you add an outlier in, that can really mess with your standard deviation. So just be aware that outliers can mess with both the mean and standard deviation, but especially the standard deviation. Before we had a median of 16, we still do now. We had an IQR of 8, we still do now. And we had a range of 20. Well, clearly that got a little bit bigger. Outliers are always going to affect the range because the range is based on the highest and lowest numbers, and usually your outlier is going to be either the highest or the lowest number, so your range will always be affected. So the things that were affected the most were the mean, the standard deviation, and the range. Both the median and IQR tend to be pretty safe from outliers, so that's one of the reasons that they're good statistics.